One of the most important things to know in the quest for a possible historicity of Noah's Ark would be to ascertain what the Bible was referring to when it mentioned the mountains of Ararat. There are several candidates for this title. However, one towers above them all in popularity, with the bulk of all searches being conducted in this region. Mt Ararat, which is located in ancient Armenia in today's modern political borders of Turkey, has become synonymous with Mt Ararat. The problem with this identification is that according to the majority of scholars, this association only dates from the 11th to 12th centuries, when it was most likely developed by the Crusaders. Until this time, the locals did not associate Mt Ararat with the area of Mt Ararat. This video explores the mountain most associated with the site of the mountains of Ararat before the 11th century. Ararat in Hebrew is most likely referring to the ancient region of Urartu, which roughly covers the area north of the Tigris River, with its nucleus around the area of what is today called Lake Van. The earliest documentation of the term Urartu dates from the reign of Shalmaneser I of Syria in approximately 1274 BCE. The most ancient sources don't offer much help in locating the exact location of the mountains of Ararat. However, they do provide some key clues. The Septuagint in the book of Isaiah substitutes Ararat with Armenia. The book of Jubilees specifies that the ark came to rest on the peak of Lubar, a mountain of Ararat. The Genesis Apocryphon, one of the original Dead Sea Scrolls found by a Bedouin sheep herder in 1946, also mentions a Mount Lubar as being the place where Noah planted his vineyard. The Targum of Onkelos renders Ararat as Kardune, which was an ancient kingdom that was concentrated between the Tigris River and Lake Van. The writings of Josephus seem to be all over the place when it comes to the identity of the mountains of Ararat. He had never traveled to the region and therefore was relying on second-hand accounts. There also could be a number of sites venerated in the region of Mesopotamia as having remains from one of the many flood epics. For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh mentions a ship running aground on Mount Nasir. Josephus mentions the mountains of Ararat several times through the corpus of his writings. He quotes several ancient authors, including the 3rd century BCE Babylonian astronomer Berosus the Chaldean, Hieronymus the Egyptian, Manassius, Nicholas of Damascus, and apparently other lost to history. All of these, with the possible exception of Nicholas of Damascus, place the Ark in both Armenia and on the mountain of the Cordinians. His reporting of Monabasis I's last will is of particular interest, as this story further pinpoints the possible location. Monabasis I reigned over a kingdom called Adiabini. It was located both in the area of Armenia and Karduni. In fact, it was Monabasis I who expanded the borders of his kingdom to include the region of Karduni. Before this king's death, he called his son and gave him the aforementioned area, including the mountain that possesses the remains of the ark, in which, report has it, that Noah was saved from the flood. According to Josephus, the remains of the ship were still being shown to those who wished to see them in his day. There is a mountain that was and still is venerated as Ararat in this region of Karduni, even called Kardu in Aramaic and Syriac. Today it is called Mount Judi. The site was and still is venerated by Jews, Syriac Christians, and Muslims as being the landing site of the Ark. The medieval Jewish traveler Benjamin from Tudela references the town and the mountain above it as being the resting place of the Ark when he was making his way through the region in the mid-12th century. According to a Talmudic account, which expands upon a scriptural account, the Assyrian king Sennacherib was assassinated by his 2 sons while worshipping a beam that he took from Noah's Ark in the temple of Nisroach, which was presumably in Nineveh. Nisroach is understood as coming from the Hebrew word Neser, which means plank. There aren't any Assyrian deities associated with this name. This could have been a personal infatuation of Sennacherib inside one of his many temples in Nineveh. His sons, Adramelech and Sharezer, killed him, and interestingly enough, they escaped to the land of Ararat. There is room to speculate that the Talmudic connection between the assassination of the Assyrian king Sennacherib and his worship of a beam from Noah's Ark could be connected to this mountain. Although the assassination occurred in Nineveh, a rock relief of Sennacherib describing his local military campaigns was found at the base of Mount Judi. He seems to identify Mount Judi as Mount Nippur. Early Christian scholars such as the church historian Eusebius, Epiphanius, and the Syriac Peshitta also locate the site of the Ark's landing as being in the mountains of Karduni. In the 7th century, the Byzantine emperor Heraclius ascended the mountain to visit the site. The Quran and many Islamic scholars following these earlier traditions pinned down the location of the mountains of Ararat to Mount Judi, located in the middle of what would be considered the mountains of Karduni. In fact, prior to the Crusades, this mountain was almost exclusively associated with the story of the Ark. Located just north of the city of Cizre in modern Turkey, Mount Judi is still considered a candidate for Mount Ararat amongst Ark aficionados. Locals still hand out purported pieces of the Ark. German geologist Dr. Friedrich Bender, who was based in the area for a geological survey in the 1950s, actually claimed to have found wood that he carbon dated to be about 6,500 years old. You can check the link to his article in the description. Whether these pieces of wood are actually from a boat has yet to be determined. But what is known is that Mount Judi has a strong tradition as being associated with the mountains of Ararat from antiquity until today. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.